You're watching ABC7 News at 7.
Breed will play a role, age just like people. Think about it like life insurance and people. It's going to be similar. The younger you do it, the cheaper it is per month, right off the bat.
Just like us, pets need medical care, and just like us, it's expensive. But would getting insurance for our pets actually be cheaper than a normal visit to the vet? Good evening, everyone. I'm Alan Cohn, and welcome to ABC 7 at 7. We'll have more on the cost of pet insurance in a moment, but first, our top 7 stories at 7, and we begin tonight with Mote Marine Labs unveiling plans for a brand new state-of-the-art aquarium at Nathan Benderson Park. Mote's leadership held a press conference today to show the public what this new facility will look like and why they're spending more than $100 million to make it happen. Mote's new aquarium will be front and center for anyone driving past Sarasota on I-75. Mote is hoping to lease 5 acres between Nathan Benderson Park's rowing course and the University Town Center Mall.
We are going to make sure that every child in this region has an opportunity for hands-on STEM experiences at this facility.
Mark the start of Mote's massive fundraising effort. It hopes to break ground by 2019. Total expected cost, $130 million. The producer of MTV's Siesta Key has been arrested on charges of drunken driving. 57-year-old Gary Campothackres allegedly flew past deputies in a Porsche at 100 miles an hour on I-75. Around 1:30 this morning, he reportedly smelled of alcohol and wouldn't agree to a breath test. He reportedly said he had a PhD and knew the alphabet but couldn't recite it. Campothackres is known for 1-800-ASK-GARY, which helps people injured in car accidents. Turning to Manatee County, where a former sheriff's deputy is now facing life behind bars. Former Sergeant Gerald Lear at one point to supervise the Crimes Against Children's Unit. Prosecutors say Lear engaged in sexual acts with a 14-year-old girl and her 14-year-old friend. He was convicted on several counts of sexual battery, possession of child pornography, and contributing to the delinquency of a minor. A Sarasota business owner is watching her building crumble as construction of an 11-story condominium nearby continues. Construction on the Mark started in May, and since then, the owner of Malby Italian Artisan Decor says she has seen significant damage to her building. The owners of the shop have paperwork showing the foundation of the building was fine until construction of this project began.
They said, "Oh, don't worry, we will fix the crack." But we were not asking to fix the crack. We can fix our cracks. The problem is that we want to know exactly what they did.
The developer of the Culture Company released a statement saying, in quote, "We are aware of Mrs. Borey's issues regarding her property, and we are working with the city of Sarasota, Mrs. Borey, engineers, and other professionals to investigate the situation and ensure the protection of her property during our construction." There are discounts everywhere nowadays, restaurants, clothing stores. On your traffic tickets, that's right, Florida drivers could soon get an 18% discount on their tickets if they take a driver improvement course. The bill was approved by a Senate committee today, with the discount applying to non-criminal traffic infractions. The discount could cost the state an estimated $3.6 million a year. Legislation is moving forward at the state capitol, which would require counties to identify facilities where homes with power restoration matters are a matter of health and safety. Right now, the state doesn't lay out the process where electric service is restored following a disaster. Under a bill passed by the House committee today, counties would have to share information that they collect with the public and private electric utility companies. Under the measure, power restoration priorities would be given to places like hospitals, police stations, public shelters, and critical government buildings.
It kind of gives us a statewide format for how we're going to be able to make sure that the residents of Florida have the proper services once they're in the unfortunate circumstance of lack of a certain utility because of a hurricane.
A certification process would be set up for residential customers who are medically dependent on electricity in order to get their power back quicker. It's controversial and widely discredited, the practice known as conversion therapy, and now there's an attempt to make it illegal to use on minors in Florida. Conversion therapy is a practice where doctors or a therapist attempts to change the sexual orientation of a person through prayer and counseling. The bill's sponsor charges conversion therapy gives a false sense of hope to some parents who are in denial that their children are gay.
I've met folks that had the unfortunate luck to have been forced to go to conversion therapy. None of those individuals that I have met, and I've met a couple dozen of them at this point, none of those people identify as being straight.
At least 9 other states have already outlawed conversion therapy. The Suncoast's largest celebrity golf tournament teed off today. The Plantation Community Foundation major fundraiser, the Celebrity Golf Classic. Celebrity players from professional and sports match with golfers to raise money for the foundation at the Plantation Golf and Country Club. And one of the biggest celebrities on the Suncoast is Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan, and he is there. He joins us live from the event. Bob.
Thanks, Ellen. You would love it down here, by the way, Ellen, with all of the New York players that are here. And Ken Singletary, who actually still broadcasts for Yes Network for the Yankees, he's here as well. I had the opportunity to play with him, and he was a great player. But the celebrities of the Suncoast, no one beats this guy right here, Jacques Lemaire. Jacques, good seeing you again.
Good to see you.
Always a pleasure seeing you here.
When are you going to come back and play with us?
I know. I play with this group, and they've been taking all my money for many years. I got to work on my game. Jacques, what a great tournament, right?
Oh, it's great. Ron Nobles and his staff there, what they do for this tournament, it's unbelievable. Everyone talks about it. It's a great tournament to assist. And, every year you play with different foursomes, and people are just great.
It's good. It's good reminiscing, too. And if you don't know, people should know it. Jacques Lemaire has his name on the Stanley Cup. Get this, 8 times as a player, and 1 time as a head coach for the New Jersey Devils, right? And then a couple times in management.
You're pretty good.
Yeah, I remember things. Short term, very good. Jacques, great playing for the Montreal Canadiens. I appreciate your time here this evening.
Thank you.
And thanks for helping out for this wonderful tournament.
We miss your money.
I'll be back.
You gotta come back.
I'll be back. Anyway, this is a great tournament here, and raising a lot of money last year, $140,000. They're going to do the auction here coming up a little bit. $60,000 already raised just for the golf alone, and then much more for all the different items that are going to be auctioned off. Here's the weather: 75 degrees right now. The dew point is at 66, and we have a few clouds around right now. Humidity at 73%. We have north winds at 7, and the pressure continues to stay high. With that high pressure firmly in control, it's blocking any cold fronts from coming in, just as Jacques Lemaire did in his defensive days with the Montreal Canadiens. Never let it in the goal, right? 75 right there in Sarasota, 67 in Orlando. And you can see from the satellite GOES imagery right there, a lot of clouds streaming in overhead, but those are high, thin cirrus clouds. No rain associated with those, and it looks to stay dry overnight. We're looking for generally partly cloudy skies and temperature staying on the warm side. Our score, 3rd place, right there, 48. That's a 48. We actually shot 18 under par, and it wasn't good enough as Mike Torres and his group got 45. Back to you, Ellen.
Bob, there's a green jacket waiting for you when you get back. Still to come, does buying insurance for your pets make sense financially and for their safety?
Invest in Kids is a $7.5 million project to build a new Boys and Girls Club in South Manatee County. I'm Caleb Grimes, and I was a club kid. It's where I learned important life lessons: leadership, integrity, responsibility, and baseball. Thousands of kids attend the Boys and Girls Clubs, and after years of use, their club is slowly falling apart. Help us invest in kids. Make your donation today.
Thank you!
Attention, Americans eligible for Medicare. Are you getting all the benefits you're entitled to? Did you know there may be money available to lower your medical prescription costs? Call Health Markets and we'll tell you if you qualify.
Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Jeetsi. It's a new Medicare year. That means more changes and more confusion. The key question is, what can you do now to ensure you get the care you need in the coming year?
Call Health Markets today. You may qualify to save money on prescriptions. We'll help you find plans that may cost less, cover more, and could even lower your prescription costs to increase your savings. We help you find all the benefits you're entitled to, and we do it at no cost.
Make sure you have what you need to get the care that's right for you.
Find out if you qualify to receive extra help with your prescriptions. Call the number on the screen now. Representatives are standing by.
Rugs as Art. You know the name, you know the building, but do you know what's inside? Yes, Rugs as Art is Florida's #1 area rug superstore. But there is so much more. Amazing furniture, accessories, and art. All this and more. Come see for yourself. You'll love our personal touch and be pleasantly surprised by our affordable prices. Rugs as Art and more. There is so much more to explore.
Keep up with the Suncoast. Watch your favorite ABC7 shows on your streaming device.
We know healthcare costs are a big concern in our community, but how often do you think about the cost of healthcare for your pet? ABC7's Jess Dowdrick joins us with the story. Jess.
Alan, some pet owners are paying thousands of dollars out of pocket for life-saving treatments for their pets. But there's another option out there, pet insurance. Could it save you money in the long run?
Cynthia Crow knew something wasn't right when she picked up her dog, Pumpkin, from the groomer.
He just didn't look right, and I said to my husband, there's something wrong with him here, very wrong.
She rushed him to the vet. Pumpkin had cuts on his ear and paw, bruises across his stomach, and a broken jaw.
It can't be fixed. It's broken for the rest of his life.
Pumpkin couldn't even be totally healed by surgery, so now he's stuck wearing this muzzle every day.
He gets special food to eat. He has medication that goes in the food. I feed him by hand because he can't eat by himself.
Bills keep piling up.
Right now it's up to about $1,700.
The money keeps coming out of pocket.
If you love your pet, you'll do whatever it takes. If I have to sell a house to take care of him, I'll do that.
Crow is kicking herself now for not getting pet insurance.
I talked about it at one time, but he is so well protected by us. We didn't think we needed it.
Pet insurance is similar to human health insurance. It can come in handy during emergency and unexpected situations. And of course, there are monthly fees.
I've seen payments range from $30 a month to several $100s a month.
It all depends on how extensive of a plan you're looking at.
They can have deductibles. They can be as comprehensive as covering wellness visits and the routine medical care, or they can be a plan for emergency situations.
The Humane Society of Sarasota County doesn't have a stance on pet insurance. They say it's up to the pet owner. The shelter staff simply suggests that any pet owner do his or her research.
There are so many plans out there, so make sure you do your research first, as well as ask your vet any questions before you invest in a policy.
Let's crunch some numbers and get some quotes to figure out exactly what kind of prices we're looking at for pet insurance here on the Suncoast.
Let's compare prices and plans for a cat, small dog, and large dog, assuming they're all the same age, 2 years old. For Healthy Paws Pet Insurance, we're looking at $26 a month for a cat and $37 a month for each a small and large dog. That plan has a $200 deductible for each pet. Over a 10-year lifespan, you'd pay $3,120 for the cat's insurance and $4,440 for a dog. Let's compare that to Nationwide's pet insurance plan. It would cost $26 a month for a cat and $27 a month for a dog. That's $3,120 over a 10-year life expectancy for the cat and $3,240 for the dog. That plan has a $250 deductible. It also offers a more inclusive plan that would cover a long list of illnesses that the basic plan wouldn't, like feces tests, deworming, and dental disease. That plan would be about $50 per month per pet, or $6,000 for the 10 years of insurance. One last comparison. Let's look at Embrace Pet Insurance. On the $200 deductible plan, the cat would cost $24 a month, and both dogs about $32 a month. Again, looking at those numbers over 10 years, you'd pay $2,280 for the cat and $3,840 per dog. So no matter which plan you look at, cats overall are cheaper to cover through pet insurance. But there are other factors that go into these monthly fees.
Breed will play a role, age, just like people. Think about it like life insurance and people. It's going to be similar. The younger you do it, the cheaper it is per month, right off the bat.
Dr. Ryan Beverly works at Suncoast Veterinary Emergency and Specialty Center on Route 41 in Sarasota. He's typically dealing with emergency situations and rarely ever sees clients come in with pet insurance.
I do have cases come in where a dog could undergo treatment that could potentially be life-saving. We can never make guarantees. And people end up going for humane euthanasia because it's either they pay for that procedure, which might work, or they keep the roof on their house.
To avoid those heartbreaking situations, Dr. Beverly suggests pet owners be prepared for the unexpected and purchase pet insurance.
I have no brand loyalty. They all seem to be good. I think it's always going to be situational.
A disadvantage, most pet insurance companies won't cover pre-existing conditions.
One big thing I don't like about pet insurance is that you have to actually pay for it up front, whatever service you get. It's not like human insurance where it pays itself up front. You actually have to pay it, the client does, and then they get reimbursed.
It's really impossible to tell whether or not your furry friend will stay healthy or will have some kind of serious illness or emergency situation. So obviously it's up to the pet owner about whether or not you're willing to take that risk.
Jess, thank you. Don't be in the doghouse. Meet me at the trapezoid.
There's nothing like this trail in Alabama. It just goes from the northern part of the state to the southern part of the state. We see all kind of different terrains, great value, great fun. We've been coming for 18 years. We started off with a group of 8, grew to 12, and grew to 16. And we love it because where else can you get world-class golf courses with world-class accommodations? To be able to play these type of courses in this environment, and the difficulty keeps us coming back over and over and over again.
I'll be right back.
Who else has been taking your prescriptions? Keep your medicine and your family safe and secure. Mind your meds. To learn how we can help, visit the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids at drugfree.org.
Our nation's servicemen and women show great courage and leadership, both on and off the battlefield. When they transition to civilian life, they can apply the skills and values they learned in the military to the workplace. That's why the Coalition to Salute America's Heroes is urging employers everywhere to be smart, bet on a vet. Hiring a veteran is also a great way to show your appreciation for them. To learn more, call 1-888-44-SALUTE.
Here we go. We're gonna go out there in the rain. It's gonna get wet. All right, here we go. Okay, quick. Oh yeah, yes. So much fun. Mwah. We're getting so wet.
Welcome back. It's one of those things. Pet insurance might seem like a monthly bill you just don't need until you really need it. For many pet owners, it's just not practical to pay $30 a month for a dog or $20 a month for a cat for health insurance. But when your pet needs surgery, many times it can cost thousands of dollars. Penny wise, pound foolish. Joining us for more are Dr. Nina Krajewski of Dr. Nina's Animal Hospital, Marsha Panucci of Dante's Den, and our consumer watchdog, Jerry Zivick. And Doctor, let me start with you. Somebody talked about that in our story there, but how many times do you have patients come in that you know the medical procedure is going to cost a lot of money, and people are kicking themselves for not having insurance?
I actually think that people haven't really considered or looked into pet insurance, and I think that is a fault of the consumer at this point, or the owners. But I think that, yes, once the incident happens, maybe they think twice that maybe I should have done some research or looked into the product before.
And Marcia, you have seen this firsthand with animals that are taken by loving families, and then something happens that they financially just cannot deal with, and they wind up right back on your doorstep.
Yeah, they come back to sanctuaries and rescues such as Dante's, but also we hear so much about, and we've worked closely with Dr. Nina, and we adore her in the past, people get desperate. And when they find out exactly how much life-saving surgery is going to be for the dog, I think Dr. Nina would agree, well, let's euthanize the dog. Really? Really? I don't think so. Let's try to save. You take an oath. We take our business very seriously. Let's see how we can help that dog. And definitely with surgeons such as Dr. Nina, there's a lot of miracles that can happen every day.
That's true, but like insurance, it's not something that you really can do after the fact.
No, we encourage those people who come to Dante's Den, please consider pet insurance. And the time to do it is when your pet is young and has no pre-existing condition. I think you would agree with that. And yes, for a period of years, you would hope many years, that the dog would be so, or the cat would be so healthy. Okay, so you're writing the check, yes, 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 this is something I have to do. But when that one catastrophe happens, and it can happen quickly, that's when you want that pet insurance.
Jerry, so if a family out there is considering this, what is the first thing that they should think about?
Well, I think there's a lot of parallels to pet insurance to our own health insurance, and nobody ever wants to pay for it. But as Marcia said, when you have that catastrophe, you need that. So what you have to do is you have to look at, can you afford $10,000 out of pocket before you start? Because as the piece said, you're going to get reimbursed, so you're going to need that money up front.
You know, point of personal privilege, my family had this very situation. A schnoodle, or the love of our life, had a severe and sudden spinal injury, and we were $5,000 into the door when we went to the veterinary ER. That's just, a chunk of change that many families just cannot afford.
It is difficult. I mean, veterinary medicine has a lot to offer diagnostically for pets now, but in essence, the cost is becoming an issue with a lot of owners, and when this catastrophe happens, it's unfortunate.
All right, we are just getting warmed up. We'll have much more on pet insurance costs right after we check the First Alert weather. Stay with us.
Alex Karras Lincoln's 40th anniversary sale. Drive a brand new 2018 Lincoln MKC for $279 per month, or the Lincoln MKZ for $299 per month. We have a great selection of certified pre-owned Lincolns. These vehicles have warranties up to 100,000 miles and come with complimentary roadside assistance. Alex Karras Lincoln, where our mission statement is consistent commitment. Every client, every time. Located 2 miles north of the Sarasota-Bradenton Airport on US 41.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
A promise was made, a promise that hit the beaches of Normandy, a vow that captured Iwo Jima, a contract that weathered Tet, a pledge that stormed the desert in Iraq, an IOU that braved IEDs in Kandahar. A promise was made to America's veterans. DAV fights to keep that promise, so all veterans and their families get the benefits and support they earned. For help, visit DAV.org.
For more than 100 years, American Humane Association has been teaching kids to be kind to animals. Those in our homes, on the farms, on the silver screen, and wildlife conservation, caring for the world's vanishing creatures. But we can't do it alone. Visit kindness100.org to find ways to teach kids how they can make a more caring, compassionate, and humane world for all of us.
The Celebrity Golf Classic kicking off today at area golfers team up with celebrity sports players to raise money for the Plantation Community Foundation. The event has just ended, but the party continues indoors where Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan is, and he joins us now. How's it going out there, Bob?
Well, I got to tell you, I just stepped outside, and they're going it's going really well. In fact, they're raising money now through the silent auction and the regular auction. And they've already raised $60,000 just for the golf alone. And they expect to raise a little bit more than that tonight with this auction. And it all stays here locally in the 30 or 40 charities here in South Sarasota County. So over the past 26 years, they've raised $2.8 million. So golf is just not for fun. It's for helping out and helping the community. And that's what they're doing right here. And a lot of folks getting to meet and up close and personal with old-time legends of the game of Major League Baseball, as well as into hockey. I just interviewed Jacques Lemaire, and we've got some local celebrities here as well that have played. Wayne Garrett, third baseman for the Miracle Mets, is here, and he lives in Sarasota as well. Gary Peters, who played for the White Sox, and many other. Ken Frayling, who's down here in Sarasota, and Shane Raleigh as well. So lots going on here. We have great weather for the event as well. Perfect weather. Van Wezel webcam showing generally fair conditions throughout the day today, and all that was a result of a large area of high pressure, and that high pressure ridge continues to dominate, and it's a very strong one. And what that means is it's not going to move much. And if you like today's weather, you're going to pretty much like tomorrow's weather. We're going to stay fairly warm here up and down the coast. Now, there will be some high clouds occasionally moving in. There's a slight chance for a shower, but nothing really downwind. There's a little bit of a disturbance there. You see it over Louisiana and out into the northern Gulf of Mexico. Not much happening with it, though, as it's going to race basically to the northeast away from us. A weak system moves in over the weekend, but should not be a big factor, bringing us just a 20% chance for showers. Well, the Futurecast is showing a return to easterly winds rather quickly. Today's highs in the mid part of the viewing area into the mid-80s. We're going to see high temperatures remaining into the low 80s, even near the coast, as those winds shift back to the south and east. Currently, those winds now out of the north at 7 miles an hour. This is really not cooling things down. Dew point remains high at 66. And speaking of high, the temperature warmed to 80 degrees. Yesterday was 82, today 80. The average high at 73. Well, current temperatures, 50s in Jacksonville, 60s in Orlando, and 70s in Miami, here along the Sun Coast as well. And it's 74 at Mayaca City, 72 in downtown Sarasota, 72 in Venice, Northport. You're a few degrees warmer, 78 now into Punta Gorda. The Gulf water temperature is something to look at. 68 degrees just a couple of weeks ago. That was down to 58, and that's a big factor. You can see the forecast tomorrow calling for a mixture of sun and clouds with high temperatures warming into the low 80s. Nationally, what's going on? A quick hitter, a clipper system moving through the plain states will move into Michigan, northern Indiana, and Ohio over the next 12 hours. Producing a lot of snowfall. It's already occurring in Chicago now. Expected to get a little heavier as the night progresses in places like Toledo, South Bend, Detroit, Grand Rapids, all the way over to Chicago. So that's where the winter weather warnings are out. But for us, a different story. We'll see the clouds, mixture with sunshine, and that rain, as I mentioned, near Louisiana, kind of spreading off to the northeast, avoiding the Sun Coast. So no problems for your tea time over the next several days, for that matter. Rain chance at 20%. We could even see a few inland showers along the sea breeze, which could develop as a result of temperatures warming into the mid-80s in the interior portions of our viewing area. You can see temperatures staying into the low 80s over the next 7 days. No big changes there. Big change here. The sun is set. The folks are inside raising money for a wonderful cause. We'll be right back after this.
This is the story of a boy who was very sensitive to lights and sounds. So he built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. The boy didn't like looking people in the eye. It made him feel uncomfortable. One day, he found out he had something called autism. His family got him help, and slowly, he learned how to live with it better.
Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org.
This holiday season, show a little imagination. For her, how about a visit to the spa or an evening at a fine restaurant? For him, it could be a round of golf on a world-class course or gear from the pro shop. You'll find these gifts and more at rtjgolf.com/gift cards. RTJ gift cards and resort cards are easy to wrap and never go out of style. Whether it's a good drive, a great steak, or relaxation at the spa, find it at rtjgolf.com/gift cards.
Every week on Animal Outtakes, it's a new adventure. From meeting curious lemurs to feeding big cats and hosing down rhinos, there's never a dull moment. And sometimes these amazing animals chime in. Tune in to Animal Outtakes to find out what they have to say. Watch Animal Outtakes every week on ABC7.
I took my first handful of pills, and that's when all my priorities seemed to change.
He would ask to use the bathroom in other people's homes.
He just assumed that they would have medication.
He'd go in their medicine cabinets and steal prescription drugs.
I wish I knew really what these prescription pills were.
We were so naive about the whole drug thing.
These are all synthetic forms of heroin.
Keep your medication locked up because you'll never notice that a pill is gone.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
I am the resident district manager on the FAU campus for Chartwell. Whenever I see Haley, I do not see a person with a disability. I see a person with extraordinary abilities. Haley is always smiling. She's always on time. She gives fantastic customer service and is always focused on any job that she's given.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Welcome back. We're talking about pet insurance, and joining us for more, Dr. Nina Krajewski of Dr. Nina's Animal Hospital, Marsha Panucci of Dante's Den, and our consumer watchdog, Jerry Zivick. And Doctor, I'm going to start with you again. Could you guess what percentage of your patients, your families, have insurance?
It is very low. I would say that I probably fill out an insurance form for an owner once a month, and that's few and far between. We don't get a large percentage, and I think it's because they just don't know and haven't heard about pet insurance.
And of those families, what type of coverage do they have? Do they have coverage that would cover your regular visit and shots, or is it only coverage for injuries and severe illnesses?
I would say most of my owners have more for emergencies. A few have for wellness. I have a few patients that have chronic conditions that are covered. So I do think it's real important to do your job in looking at what each kind of plan can hold for you and cover for you.
Marsha, let me ask you this. Is it more difficult or more important to get insurance on the dog that maybe is adopted or rescued than an animal that comes from other means?
Not really. I mean, we have to look at the criteria that is being asked for, and of course, when people come to adopt dogs from us, we turn over their entire medical record to them. And of course, the insurance companies for the pets are no different than the humans. They don't want pre-existing conditions.
Well, let me ask you about that, because when it comes to pre-existing conditions, many dogs that are up for adoption, the dogs and cats for that matter, who need families the most, often do have conditions, whether it is worms or viruses or something like that. Does that make it more difficult for those families to get insurance for them?
I think that you have to look at the individual insurance policies and see what it is that they will cover. For example, one of them that we offer, and I think Dr. Nina does also, it covers the wellness, covers spaying and neutering, covers dentals and that type of thing. So you have to take a look at it. But I must tell you, on the panel, I am a convert. I did not believe in pet insurance. For the longest time, I equated it to a human dental insurance, which for many years covered nothing. Okay, but I have since seen the light. And I really feel that if you get the dogs and you get them evaluated by your veterinarian and they say, okay, we've got no existing pre-existing conditions, this dog is in fairly good health at this moment, let's talk about insurance. Get it while they're young.
Okay, and Jerry, but what are the pitfalls out there? I would imagine all these companies are not alike. There are good companies and bad companies, just like anything else. What do you see out there?
Well, what's interesting is who regulates the health insurance companies for dogs. And interestingly enough, dogs are treated like property. And so it's not as regulated as strictly as health insurance would be regulated. And you were talking about the percent of patients the doctor sees that are insured. I read some statistics that said less than 1% of all pet owners have insurance. And also you were talking about pre-existing conditions or things that would make the insurance more expensive. Certain breeds, and I'm sure Marcia could attest to this, are more prone to have problems like hip dysplasia or something like that. And those premiums will actually be more expensive.
Okay, and are there companies out there that have better reputations than others?
Sure, and that goes back to the old situation that you have to do your research, see if there's been complaints filed. Just because you're allowed.
Where do you go?
The Florida Attorney General, the Better Business Bureau, the Department of Insurance would all regulate this. But because so few people actually have this insurance, there's going to be a very small database. So your best bet would probably be to talk to the doctor, the vet that you're going to go to. What's your experience with the XYZ insurance company? Will they cover most things? Some vets, I learned, Dr. Nina, she actually has a self-insured program for her patients where she'll cover all wellness for her patients, which is less expensive than dog insurance.
Well, Dr. Jerry brings up a big point. An important point that some dogs have or are known for hip dysplasia, like labs and so forth.
Yes.
Does that make it more difficult and more expensive for them to get insurance?
It does. It does. When you look at some of the policies, they have breed restrictions. Certain breeds are not covered at all. Certain,
like what breeds would not be covered?
Some of the large breeds have a hard time getting covered. Great Danes, Newfoundlands, Burmese mountain dogs, they have a hard time getting covered. I would also say that some of the large breed dogs that are predisposed to knee injuries, hip injuries, that part of their medical conditions are not covered, and maybe some of the other things are. So they exclude that part because they're more prone to it.
Marcia, has there been any change in terms of the families that you deal with in terms of their willingness to get insurance?
Yes, I have seen a change, primarily because by the time they come to us, unfortunately, they have lost a pet, maybe within a 2-week period, within wherever. And they want to make sure that it doesn't happen again. And so they do their research, and we encourage them to. We don't necessarily recommend a particular insurance, but we'd like to see them consider it. And yes, we've had situations where people will come to us and say, it's either the house or the dog. And and of course, you know what we're going to say, it's the dog. But we certainly understand what the conditions could be. And then that's where a sanctuary such as Dante's Den does come into play, because we're going to take care of the dog and hopefully help those people.
Jerry, are different states different in terms of oversight, in terms of these companies that provide insurance?
It's across the board, across the United States. They all treat it the same way. And it's basically a stepchild of government. Nobody's really regulating this part of the insurance industry. And if you think about it, the pet care business is a $15+ billion a year business. And it's only growing. The cost of technology is pushing expenses. The cost of medicines are pushing expenses. So why there's not a lot of interest, I don't know. But can I ask Marcia a question?
Sure.
So my question is clearly you care and love dogs. Have you ever thought about requiring the people that come for a dog to actually get insurance?
We require pet insurance when they board, when they have extensive medical boarding by us, as well as our Semper Paw program, which is the military, and of course our lifetime care. We require that. We can only strongly recommend and suggest when they come to adopt a dog.
And Doctor, give us an example, one example if you can, of where health insurance for an animal, dog or a cat, really save this family thousands of dollars and a terrible decision in terms of what could have happened?
Sure. Hit by cars, unfortunately, are a common thing that we see. And I have seen where it has come down to a financial decision. And if at that point they've had insurance, I see that owners are more than willing to do whatever they need to do. And they're not scared to say, yes, this is what I need to do for Fluffy.
Right.
But in the other case, I've seen where they don't have the insurance, and it may come down to humane euthanasia, because that would be best for the animal.
We have to take a quick break, and we'll be back for final thoughts in a moment.
I love taking care of my mom. It wasn't easy at first. She learned how to better communicate her needs.
And you learned how to not ignore yours.
I discovered how to make healthier meals.
And I discovered how much I enjoyed them.
Becoming a caregiver is a learning experience for everyone. Find articles, tips, and tools from experts and others who have been in your place. The Caregiving Resource Center at aarp.org/caregiving.
The thought of my sons growing up without me inspired me to quit smoking.
I talked to my doctors, and then I threw away all my cigarettes, ashtrays, and lighters.
I started exercising instead of smoking.
Letting my friends online know I was quitting kept me on track.
Staying away from alcohol when I was first quitting was key.
I kept on trying, learned something each time.
Do whatever it takes.
No matter how many times it takes.
We did it. You can too.
For free help, visit cdc.gov/tips.
My name is Stephen Jaffe. The law firm's name is Farmer Jaffe. One of the beautiful things about Julius is he's always smiling, and it becomes infectious. The fact that Julius has a disability has absolutely nothing to do with the quality of work that he's done. Just a great person you want on your staff.
Hi, this is Dan Marino. When your business recruits people with disabilities, everybody wins. To find out how, go to disabilitieswork.employflorida.com.
Performing on stage takes mental and physical preparation. But one thing I never thought to prepare for was cervical cancer. 91% of cervical cancers are caused by the human papillomavirus, or HPV. The good news is there are vaccines that can protect you or your children from cancer. I survived my cancer, but you can stop cancer before it starts. Talk to your doctor and go to thinkaboutthelink.org to learn more.
Check out My Suncoast Dining on mysuncoast.com, your guide to the foodie lifestyle. ABC7's own Chef Judy serves up her favorite recipes, cooking tips and trends, dining blog, step-by-step videos, and Suncoast Restaurant Guide. You'll find it all at mysuncoast.com/dining.
And our guest joining us right now for final thoughts. So, Doctor, you see these stories play out every day in your office. If there was one piece of advice you would give families with pets, dogs, and cats, what would that be?
I would say really consider pet insurance. Obviously, some of your veterinarians, like us at Dr. Nina's Animal Hospital, have wellness plans. But for those emergencies where you know they're going to be top dollar, consider having it, because you don't want to have to make another decision based on finances for your pet.
Marsha, what about families who open their homes to animals who need a home, but they don't have a lot of means? And you know, we all have a lot of bills to pay every month, and something's got to give.
I do think, though, that you have to do the research, but really search your heart. We all love, for the most part, animals, and our hearts go out to those animals. But the AKC tells you that you should spend a minimum of $2,000 a year on the medical care. We've talked about that during the break. So you've got to think about this. It's not just we're going to put a water bowl down and we're going to buy a little food and we're going to hope that Fido is going to do well. A healthy dog is a happy dog, makes for healthy, happy parents.
And Jerry, I would imagine that the first thing you're going to say is do your research.
Well, of course, do your research. You have to check what the covered conditions are. You have to check exactly what they're referring to as a pre-existing condition. You have to check to see how long between each incident that you have to wait, or is there continuous coverage? You have to check if there's guaranteed renewability here. You have to check our medicines covered. You have to check if anything else is excluded.
All right. We have to leave it there. Thank you all for joining us. But before we go, we want to share with you what some of you had to say about last night's show about the Tide Pod Challenge. Social media challenges have been going on for years. There was eating a spoonful of cinnamon, chugging a gallon of milk, and more. But now the Tide Pod Challenge is putting kids into hospitals. The kids record themselves eating detergent and post it to social media. We went to Facebook for your thoughts, and Mary says kids just didn't come with common sense. And the different Mary says it is time for kids to get off social media and do something more productive with their time. Well, if you'd like to join the conversation about tonight's topic, just visit our Facebook page at facebook.com/mysuncoast.com.abc7. And FYI, you can watch past discussions on demand. They're available on Apple TV, Amazon Fire, and Roku. And for the latest on local breaking news, don't forget to download the updated version of our app. If your current app doesn't work, that's because it's expired. Just go to the App Store and download it by searching for WWSB or My Suncoast. We want to thank all our guests for being here tonight. Dr. Nina Krajewski of Dr. Nina's Animal Hospital, Marsha Panucci of Dante's Den, and our consumer watchdog, Jerry Zivick. When we return, we'll have a final look at your first alert weather. Plus, how was a top White House aide with allegations of abuse able to keep a job for so long?
My name is Stefan Campagna. We're Ben Gates and Dramus, and here is your law tip of the week. If you've been injured in a car accident, the state of Florida only gives you a specific amount of time to file a claim. So act now, give us a call.
This is an important announcement. If you're between 50 and 85 and worried about your loved ones, you can still get affordable life insurance for peace of mind.
My life insurance coverage is guaranteed, and I was not required to get a medical exam.
I had high blood pressure and diabetes, and I got my coverage with one telephone call. No exam necessary.
I'm a smoker, and I wanted to take care of my family. I called to get my life insurance and my affairs in order. I wanted to do the right thing.
Call Final Expense No Exam Insurance. Your rates are guaranteed and will never increase.
I called and learned that this insurance cannot be canceled even if you get sick or gain weight.
And there are no restrictions on how my beneficiaries use the money when I'm gone.
Approval was easy and the price was right. I wanted to do this for my children.
Call 800-738-9812. 800-738-9812.
I heard about the Dotoli Cancer Center through friends of mine who had been treated here and were very pleased with the treatment.
If there is prostate cancer, we at the Dotoli Cancer Center will find it using 3D color flow Doppler ultrasound.
And that helped precisely identify where my cancer was. I can tell you that you will not find a finer, more professional team of clinicians anywhere in the world.
Here's today's job of the day. ABC7 is seeking an assistant news director to guide daily operations. Minimum 3 years newsroom management experience required. Visit mysuncoast.com/job-of-the-day to apply.
Your primetime headlines are coming up in a moment, but first let's get a final look at your weather with Chief Meteorologist Bob Harrigan, who is at the Plantation Golf and Country Club and joins us live. Bob.
Hey, listen, this has been a great tournament. This is the last live shot here. They're about wrapping it up in there with the dinner and the awards. We got third place, which isn't bad. We shot an overall of 48. Again, that's with a handicap of 6. So really we shot a 54, which is 18 under par. You would think you'd win with that, but no, there's some good golfers out here today. In fact, Mike Torres, the competition guy of Ken Singleton, actually, they got a little friendly bet going. Actually beat him out. Mike Torres beat him out. Well, anyway, everyone won today because they raised a lot of money for wonderful charities all across South Sarasota County. Well, here's the Casey Key webcam showing you a nice day today. It's been very warm, actually. Temperatures were in the low 80s, and the sea conditions fairly calm despite the front that was nearby. Now, this front really didn't do much in terms of weather. It brought us some fog earlier this morning out ahead of it, but that fog quickly burned off, and now the front lies parallel with the upper level winds, and so it's falling apart. Our winds have shifted a little bit to the north. They'll turn back to the east tomorrow, and that will have a tendency to warm us up again. Mid-80s today for highs east of the interstate, and it looks like similar conditions expected again tomorrow. This is the Futurecast showing the clouds and precipitation anticipated, and you can see we'll see a mixture of sun and clouds throughout the day. No real threat of any significant rainfall through Friday, so for drop-off and pickup, it should be okay. For the kids or the commute to work and back and forth, it looks to be all right. There's a chance for some fog tomorrow night. Tonight, with that north wind, there's not much of a chance, but we'll see some patchy fog possibly. The barometer 30-21. That's way up there. That continues to rise. The high today was 80. That's well above the average. Typically, the average high 72. And guess what? We're going to stay into the upper 70s to low 80s over the next at least 7 days. Temperatures up and down the coast in the low 70s right now. 70 in Cortez, 73 in Mayaca City, 68 Gulf water temperature. Tomorrow looks good. We'll start off with some low clouds around, and then we will see high temperatures in the low 80s. And for the satellite and radar picture across the U.S., well, we've got some people wondering about flights out of Detroit, out of Toledo, and Chicago tonight because there's a Clipper system moving through, and there are winter storm warnings up across parts of the Midwest and the Great Lakes, and you can see that the area in pink right there, all the way from Waterloo, all the way over to Chicago and into Detroit. Well, as far as temperatures go, we are looking for that warm weather to continue. Good boating weather tomorrow. Seas running 2 feet or less with a light chop on the bays and inland waters, and we'll have high temperatures in the low 80s all the way through Thursday of next week. Now, this is a big tournament, and here's one of the winners right here, Bob Harrison, who played for the
Minneapolis
Lakers.
St. Louis Hawks.
St. Louis Hawks. Okay,
Yeah.
so that was a long time ago. You guys had a great round today.
Thank you.
Yeah.
We were lucky.
Yeah, well, you guys got, what, like 45 or something?
So, whatever it was good.
He actually, you have your, what, who comes down, flies down from Columbus to play in this tournament?
I have a nephew that came and a friend from Columbus that came.
They're pros apparently.
Well, they're good players.
Yeah, they
yes,
sure
sir.
are with a 45. But you've been doing it for many years here, right? Have you?
Oh, over 20 years.
20
yeah.
years, helping out the
Yeah.
charities here along the Suncoast. Appreciate it, Bob Harrison.
Well, thank you.
You got a
so
name
much.
very close to mine, so you got to be a good guy.
I am a good guy.
That's right. Al will be back with primetime headlines right after this.
Everyone likes the 2018 Honda Civic for $169 a month. You made Civic the best-selling compact car in America. You'll like Civic's 5-star safety ratings and that KBB.com named Civic a Best Buy and the most awarded car. Get the 2018 Civic at a payment you'll love. $169 a month today at your local Honda dealer.
I actually started playing the game at 11 years old, so I started a little bit later than most players. But I was actually raised on Fighting Joe. The value here at Robert Trent Jones is unsurpassable. I mean, I have looked to other places. I've traveled all the way across the country. Everything is perfect as far as everything is the golf course, the rolling of the greens. Everything that I've encountered has just been absolutely incredible. And for the money that you spend, for the value that you actually get, it is unsurpassable. I'd recommend it for anybody.
I witnessed him have 2 heart attacks in ICU. He went through seizures.
We'd much rather have Aaron like this than dead. A lot of parents don't have that luxury.
He can't talk. He can't walk. This is a condition Aaron will live with for the rest of his life because he abused prescription pills.
Mind your meds. Learn more from the Partnership for Drug-Free Kids.
Chris Domine is a husband, father, an athlete, even an Ironman. But 10 years ago, Chris's kidneys were failing.
The doctor said if you don't do dialysis, if you don't get a kidney transplant, you are going to die.
Then Chris received a second chance, made possible by an organ donor.
Your well-being changes from loss of hope to better times ahead.
Imagine what you could make possible. Learn more and sign up as an organ, eye, and tissue donor. Go to organdonor.gov.
Tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Webb.
And I'm Ray Collins, learning lessons from the local government response to Hurricane Irma.
We'll tell you what cities and groups are coming together in a joint meeting to make sure the counties stay safe. Tomorrow morning on Good Morning Suncoast. John?
So we are watching a front sink south through the state, creating more clouds around and possible sprinkles. We'll talk about the forecast.
tomorrow at 5 on ABC7's Good Morning Suncoast. We're here for you.
Checking primetime headlines, another controversy at the White House. A top aide to the president is leaving under a cloud, allegations of abuse, and now the question is, who knew about it and when? ABC's Maggie Rulli has the details.
Rob Porter is officially out at the White House.
The allegations against Rob Porter are serious and deeply troubling.
Now new questions about the former White House staff secretary's domestic violence allegations and his abrupt departure.
Rob Porter was terminated yesterday, and his last day was yesterday. I know he came in earlier today to clear out his stuff.
But would he still be on the job? I mean, Sarah Sanders made it
Well,
very
he
clear.
offered his
He wasn't
resignation,
pressured to do
and
so.
it was accepted.
Sources tell ABC News that high-level aides knew about the accusations for months, although they did not know the extent until his two ex-wives spoke out publicly. One of his ex-wives, Jenny Willoughby, spoke on camera to the Washington Post.
So he came and grabbed me by the shoulders here and pulled me out of the shower in a rage.
Both of Porter's exes spoke to the FBI as part of his background check, and Porter never gained a security clearance.
His background investigation was ongoing. He was operating on an interim security clearance. His clearance was never denied, and he resigned.
But lawmakers still have questions.
The fact that this man operated a year without a security clearance, I didn't understand that and still don't.
And are asking how John Kelly, the chief of staff, could not have known about the allegations.
He became fully aware about these allegations yesterday. I'm not going to get into the specifics regarding who may have known what pieces of information, because they were all part of an ongoing background check investigation.
Rob Porter has denied all allegations and calls them a smear campaign. Maggie Rulli, ABC News, New York.
Congress is scrambling to put the final touches on a massive new spending deal. While leaders are on the Hill, they are confident that they have the votes. It's not a guarantee that it will pass before the government runs out of money at midnight. Washington appears to be on the brink of a spending deal that would avert yet another government shutdown before midnight. The plan would fund the government through March 23rd, and we'll have more on that tonight coming up at 11. A man charged in connection to a viral video showing the sexual assault of a child in Alabama will most likely stay behind bars until his trial. An Alabama judge has set bail for Jermaine Moore at $5 million cash. Authorities believe Moore is the man shown assaulting a child in a video that went viral on social media. He has been charged with 5 felony counts, including rape in the first degree. Moore is also facing a felony charge in Michigan, where he is accused of sexually assaulting 3 children. Sounds of jubilation and triumph from fans and players alike echoing through the streets of Philadelphia today for the Eagles Super Bowl victory parade. The city of brotherly love awash in team colors as the city celebrates the franchise's first ever Super Bowl win. The Eagles defeated the New England Patriots on Sunday with a final score of 41-33. Pitchers and catchers report next week. That's all the time we have for this evening. I'm Alan Cohn. Thanks for joining us. Have a good night.